Good. I like it. You're looking very smart with your headgear.
This is what I used to listen to music.
Okay. I don't see Huijia. Where are you, Huijia? Marcus is here. Your kid is here. Edmund, where's Huijia? You haven't eaten her up, have you? Right, another 2 minutes. We'll start at exactly 5 o'clock. Marcus, I was going to get a locksmith to break into your room already.
Oh.
It's actually very easy. You know, some time ago in my old clinic, one of the doors, somebody accidentally closed it and it was locked. So I called a patient who sell locks one. I think it took him less than 3 minutes. Got him. Not even 3 minutes. He just came, the door open already.
That's very scary.
Those same usual turning locks, right? Those yeah. It didn't even take him 3 minutes. He opened it for me.
Wow, that's actually very short.
Yeah, it's very easy. Just like sometimes people lock the car door and then the key is inside, you know, and you call the locksmith to come and he open it for you within a few minutes.
So that means Rachel will be staying at the common area.
All right, it's 5 o'clock. Let's start our sharing, and I think we should begin with a very, very short puja. I think that's very important, especially in this very difficult period that all of us are in. And of course, the puja will have no offerings. We will just do the paying respect, taking the refuges in the Buddha, and the 5 precepts. Brother Jusing is here. Brother Jusing, you must see our Huijia is very happy now. I hope you saw her. Huijia, wave to Brother Jusing, please.
Hello.
Yeah. So she's very happy now. I just fed her. All right, good. Okay, let us begin this online sharing and online service, which I think is going to be the in thing for the foreseeable future, because very honestly, no one knows when this crisis will end, if it ends. And if it drags on for a long time, then this might be the new norm for many things. And get used to the fact that many things will now be online. And as I said, we will start with a short puja, where we'll do the Namo Tassa, followed by the refuge. And then 5 precepts to remind ourselves. Okay, and so, of course, the opening puja is a way for us to all transition into a calmer state of mind to listen to the Buddha Dhamma. All right, and so let's all calm our minds. We will put our hands together and we'll jointly do the Namo Tassa, and after that, the 3 refuges, and then after that, the 5 precepts. Then we will begin with our sharing. Let us start. Homage to the Buddha. Let us pay homage to the Buddha. Namo Tassa
Bhagavato
Arahato
Samma
Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Tassa Namo Tassa
Bhagavato
Arahato Samma. Homage to him, the exalted
one, the worthy one,
the supreme self. Let us now go for refuge. Let us now take the 3 refuges. Buddhang
Saranam Gacchami,
Dhammang
Dhammam Saranam Gacchami,
Sangham Saranam Gacchami. To the Buddha and Sangha, I go for refuge. Dutiyam Buddha Gacchami. Dutiyam Dhammang Saranam Gacchami. Dutiyam Sangham Saranam Gacchami. For the second time, to the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, I go for refuge. Tatiyam Buddha Saranam Gacchami. Tatiyam Dhammang Saranam Gacchami. Tatiyam Sangham Saranam Gacchami. For the third time, Dhamma and Sangha, I go for refuge. The 5 precepts. Let us now take the 5 precepts. Anapata Viramani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami. I undertake the training to abstain from knowledge. Adinadana Viramani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami. I undertake the training to abstain from Kamesu Vichachara Viramani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami. I undertake the training to abstain from sexual misconduct.
Musavada Veramani Sikkhapadam
Samadhiyami. I undertake the training to abstain from false speech.
Suramaniravya Pajapapadatana Veramani Sikkhapadam Samadhiyami.
I undertake
the training to abstain from intoxicating drinks and
drugs that cause sickness. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So Edmund, this is being recorded?
Yes, Prof. It's recorded.
Okay, excellent, thank you. Now today, relevant our present crisis. The present crisis is the COVID-19 infection, which has become a pandemic and which would certainly change the way we live our lives. And at this time, the Dhamma becomes very crucial because it will be the Dhamma that will help us lead our lives in spite of all the difficulties that every one of us, the whole world, will be facing. Now, the Dhamma is the word which we use to collectively describe the teachings of the Buddha. Now, the Buddha did not invent the Dhamma. The Dhamma is always there. With or without a Buddha, the Dhamma is still going to be there because the Dhamma is merely the truths of nature, the way nature is. In short, the Dhamma is basically science. The Buddha discovered the Dhamma, and the Buddha taught us to live our lives so that we live our lives in accordance with the Dhamma so that we have less suffering. So if we live with the laws of nature, with the way nature works, science works, then the Dhamma becomes something very useful because we are causing the least resistance as we move in life, and we will have the least suffering. So the Dhamma becomes our guide. And nowadays, everyone is familiar with GPS. Everywhere we go, we drive, we use GPS, we use Google Map, we use Waze. How does that help us? Is that when we are confused, when we are unsure whether to turn left, to turn right, then the GPS helps us. It is exactly the same. The Dhamma helps us when we are confused and we are unsure. And so this becomes the very foundation of our lives. So what is the GPS of your life? Is your life guided by the Dhamma, guided by the way nature works, or is your life on auto mode? A lot of times, our lives are run on auto mode. I hope you realize that many decisions in our lives are made by what we call conditioned responses. We respond in a way that we have been used to respond from small. It's a conditioned reaction. So the Buddha wants us to always reflect and decide, is this the decision that you want? Is this what you want in your life? Is this correct? Is it harmful? And you make a correct decision after you have reflected on all that. To those in the exco, these were your super seniors who were in the Buddhist society before you. In times before there was COVID-19, they used to come to my house, that's my house, and have makan or barbecue, whatever. So all these are now working all over the world. So I hope you all remember that it is not life within a Buddhist center like Metta Lodge, or life within the multi-purpose hall number 1 where we hold our meetings. It is not life within a family center or a prayer room or a meditation room or a temple that is important. That is not important. It is actually life beyond Metta Lodge, life beyond multi-purpose room number 1, life beyond your family prayer room or meditation room. That is important. What is within Metta Lodge, what is within a center, what is within what we share and teach in multi-purpose room 1 merely prepares you for the life outside. So if you have studied the Dhamma well, then now you should be able to apply it to our lives outside as we face this crisis that we are facing now. So learning the Dhamma is like learning scales on a piano. But playing the piano's music is living life. So while it is a big tragedy that people will preach their religion, people dress their religion, people eat for religion, fight, kill for their religion, even conquer many lands for their religion, but they fail to live the lives that their religions actually teach. Actually, very few people live the lives that their teachers teach. But they will kill you if you insult their religion. They will fight you, do anything. But they will actually not live the life that is advocated by their own religious teachers. And that is actually one of the great tragedies of man, of humankind. We used to say that our actions speak so loud that no one can hear what we say. That's why I keep on sharing with you all, with my friends at Metta Lodge, overseas, Singapore, etc., that it is actually what we do that is important, not what you believe in or what you say. Because ultimately, the Buddha taught us it is karma which determines our immediate future of tomorrow, the next day, the next week, the next life. That is what is important. And karma is basically action. Thought translated into speech and action. And that is what is important. So the Buddha has taught us many truths. And these truths are basically nature. But he insisted that you must see these truths for yourself. For example, very fundamental teachings like impermanence. The Buddha said you must see impermanence for yourself. And any scientist, any physicist can tell you that. Anyone who studies pre-U physics also can tell you that. He taught us about dukkha, stress. Any psychologist can tell you that. He taught us about not self. Well, that is very, very difficult. That is something which even a physicist or a psychologist may not be able to tell. Only a Buddha can point that out. And the Buddha also pointed out our faults. For example, our faults of greed, hatred, ignorance. And he said these we must eradicate. And he has showed us a way to slowly lessen the cause of suffering so that you have less suffering. Nobody wants suffering. Everybody wants no suffering. But to have no suffering means to have to stop creating the causes of suffering. So let us realize that we must not be Gnostic Buddhists. That is past. Now we are living in an era where education is widely available. So we must not be Gnostic Buddhists anymore. Now, when the Buddha was dying at the age of 80, as he lay there in Kusinara, dying, there were all kinds of adoration. Even divine beings are recorded to offer things. Flowers fell down on him. There was all kinds of scents that was very pleasant that came. People wanted to offer. Devas wanted to offer. It was the last time they say we can offer to a Buddha because the Buddha is dying. But the Buddha said all these forms of adoration cannot be called sufficient acts of honor. All this is what in Chinese we say, 俾人睇啊. To let people see only. The Buddha said, he who practicing according to the Dhamma, who conducts himself correctly, and who leads a righteous life, by such only is the Tathagata best honored and worshipped. So if we are here, who learn the Dhamma, who study the Dhamma, and we conduct ourselves, we try our very best to keep our 5 precepts. For lay people, it's only 5 simple precepts. And all of them are secular. None of them are religious. We try our best to keep our 5 precepts. We try our best to conduct ourselves virtuously. We try our best to lead a righteous life. We try our best to do dana, generosity, sila, morality, bhavana, which is training the mind. And the Buddha said, if we can just do this, then he is best honored and worshipped. Not by incense, not by flowers, which are very external things. So we must, even in this very critical time now, let the Dhamma be the GPS of our lives. All right? Now, if you do not follow the Dhamma, and we do all kinds of crazy things, then you will end up taking a very long, tedious route and waste a lot of time and effort. So this is what we mean when our parents used to scold us and tell us that you must study hard, you must not waste time, because if not, you will, in Cantonese, hang yun wang lo. You will walk a long, tortuous path and not achieve much. So that's why our parents will be so obsessed that we use our time well. So similarly, the Buddha gave us the Dhamma, he taught us what to do, he advised us on how to do it so that you have the shortest, quickest route to lessen our suffering. So of course, please make sure you select the right GPS software. You get the wrong software, then you're in big trouble. The Chinese say, you know, when the GPS first started, it was quite primitive. In those days, the GPS started, we all using a big Garmin. Everybody buy a Garmin and put on the car. And you have to keep on going on the net to update it. And those days, there was no Wi-Fi. It's not like now. So to go on the net, you have to find someone with a computer, hook it on, and then very difficult to update the map. And so as you drive around, what is now the coastal highway going to Tebrau City and all that, for example, or Jusco, you will find that you are driving on the sea, you know, according to the Garmin. So your software is wrong. So if your software is wrong, you can get into pretty big trouble. So please make sure your software is correct. So our spiritual life for us as lay people involve sila, which is keeping of the precepts. And for us as lay people, only 5 basic precepts. Training the mind to be calm, training the mind to be mindful, and the development of wisdom. This is what is, in very simple words, the Buddhist path. And it is illustrated very well in the Eightfold Path. Now, precepts are not meant to limit Edmund or limit any one of us. Precepts, the 5 precepts that we just took, Anatipata, not to harm or anybody, Adina Dana, not to steal anything, Kamesu Misacharam, not to have any sexual or sensual misconduct, Musawada, not to have false speech, bad speech, lies, Surameraya, not to take any intoxicants, alcohol, drugs. They are not meant to limit us. They are actually designed to protect us. They are designed to protect you from yourself. Because without these 5 precepts, some precepts actually protect you. They are like traffic lights. They warn you, do not cross. Let me put it this way, for any one of you who drive. If you reach a traffic light and the traffic light is red in color, obviously you will not cross. But actually you can cross on, you know. What will happen to you if you insist on crossing? You will very likely end up in an accident. So the traffic light is meant to protect you. So similarly, you walk to a farm and you see a fence there, and the fence says, do not enter. Actually, you can enter and you can climb over the fence. But if you climb over the fence and then you get attacked by a bull or something like that, you have only yourself to blame. Because that fence is meant to protect you. So similarly, our precepts are not meant to limit us. They are meant to protect us. Karma. This word may sometimes sound very foreign, but actually karma is common sense, you know. Karma is cause and effect. If you do not work hard now, and you do not earn money, and you do not have a good job, don't blame anybody but yourself. If you do not be thrifty but go and gamble, etc., and you lose all your money, do not blame anybody but yourself. If you did not study hard in school and you fail to go into a university, do not blame anybody but yourself. Now, that is karma. What you do now will decide your immediate next hour, next minute, next day, next week, next year, next life. But it's basically cause and effect. So this is something which the Buddha realized, and he made us realize it, that karma, unlike what is traditionally taught in the Indian culture, is not predestination It is not fate. It is not, oh, you are an untouchable. That means your whole life you are an untouchable. No, the Buddha said that is wrong. Karma is what we do every moment, every day. The Buddha said Cetana is karma. And Cetana is what my mind thinks, and then I act it either by action or by speech. That is karma, and that will change the immediate and distant future. So when the Buddha taught his son Rahula, this was the basic thing the Buddha taught his son. He told his son, look at the mirror. What is a mirror for? And the son said, well, to reflect. And the Buddha said, yes, in everything that you do, please reflect. Look at the mirror. Look at your action and say, is this action harmful? If it is harmful to yourself, please don't do it. If it is good for you but harmful to other people, please don't do it. If it is harmful to both, you must be an idiot to do it. Only do an action if it is good for you and good for other people. So the Buddha said, always reflect, because the actions that we do has a karmic effect. So it is something that I've always been sharing with you all. In fact, the sharing on puja some time ago when we did, I told you that a wise person is not afraid of what is happening now. What is happening now is what we had in the past. It's the core, it's the effect. But what we are very, very afraid of is what we are going to do now, because that is the cause for the future. What you do now will determine what is going to come tomorrow, the next day. So we are not afraid of Guo, but we are very afraid of Yin, because Yin will determine what is going to come. So now Yongzhen might say, oh dear, I'm stuck in this mess. I'm in year 5 now, we don't know what's going to happen, blah, 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 blah. But whatever that is already happening now is an effect. We can only do our best now, because what we do now will determine what's going to come out of this effect. How we respond to this crisis now is going to determine what is going to come out of this. There's no point in moaning and groaning about what is happening now, it's so horrible and all that. It's not going to change anything. What is going to change is what are you going to do now, because that is creating the effect of tomorrow. And similarly, the effect that is tomorrow is going to cause whatever we are going to do tomorrow, the next day's result. So yin guo is a continuous cycle that just keeps on going. Get it? Like it? All right. So I'm going to show you a little clip. Some of you are familiar with this clip. You might have seen it before. Can you hear the sound? Very dramatic, but that's basically karma. Here, of course, very exaggerated, made into very dramatic, but basically what you do now creates a chain reaction which will ultimately come back to us. All right? So karma is not something exotic. It's just that the word sounds exotic. It is basically cause and effect. The other very important teaching the Buddha told us is to strive diligently with mindfulness. This, in fact, is the very last word of the Buddha before he passed away. Appamadena sampadeta, the Buddha said. Strive, work diligently, hard with mindfulness. Mindfulness is a word that may not be familiar with you, some of you, but if you have done psychiatry in year 4, then mindfulness should be a term that is familiar, because now Western psychiatry is using the Buddha's teaching in so many aspects of psychiatric treatment. Mindfulness means to be aware of the present moment. Most of us are not aware of the present moment. The present moment is lived in auto mode. But the Buddha wants us to be alive and to be aware of moment to moment to moment. Because when you are aware of moment to moment to moment, you live your life very differently. Well, let me tell you, when I was young, and Brother Ju Sing was young, and Brother Key was young, and we saw Superman movies or cartoons. Superman flew like that, with both his hands straight, up, up, and away, he will shout. Now, if you watch the recent Superman movies, okay, Superman no longer flies like that. Superman flies with one hand, up, up, and away. And sometimes you always have this joke, why has Superman's posture changed? Well, that's because in the old days, there was no automatic gear. So both his hands had to be on the steering wheel, changing gear, steering wheel, changing gear. Both his hands were in control. Now all cars come with automatic gear. And if you look at anybody who is driving, hello, Bing it's very, very dangerous now when you drive and you're not mindful. But if you just look around, there are lots of drivers who are doing that, including Brother Ju Sing. So that's what I would use as an example of what the Buddha said, that you must live your life mindfully. You must live your life with both hands on the steering wheel, not one hand on the steering wheel, one hand on the handphone, one hand adjusting this, what we call multitasking in the present 21st century. Now, once you are not mindful, you start making mistakes. You start doing things that you should not do because you are now responding automatically. All right, so the Buddha taught us that you must try your best to live mindfully. And the whole process of live either in the future or in the past. So it's a state of mind. Mindfulness is a state of mind which reflects upon itself so as not to get caught in greed, hatred, and ignorance, which cause suffering to ourselves, to others, and to both. To put it simply, it means you watch your own mind. You become a witness to your own thoughts. So let me put it this way. If one of you now goes to, let's say, a shopping mall somewhere and you see a beautiful dress, all right? And Arena saw a beautiful batik dress. Arena is a sister from Indonesia. I'm so glad she's on here. So you see, Edmund, your hard work has resulted in an international audience. We have got Singaporeans, we have got Indonesians. I don't know whether the Filipino people are here or not, because some of them are using codes. Of course, there are a lot of JB people in here. Okay, there's one Sarawakian. But let's say Sister Arena walks into one beautiful mall in Jakarta and she saw a beautiful gown. And you know the window dressing is always so nice because the whole purpose of the window dressing being nice is to attract your attention. Is to make you feel that, wow, if I wear that gown, I will look like that. All right? So if she is not mindful, she will act based on what we call conditioned responses. And her conditioned response is, I want to be beautiful, I want to be pretty, I want to look like that. And so she buys the gown. When at home, she already has 6 sets of gowns which she hardly wears. But if she is mindful, she sees the arising of a desire to buy the gown. And she asks herself, do I really need that gown? Yes, if I need it, by all means, buy it. A lot of times, we actually do not need it. Just ask yourself, how many things you have in your house that you bought and never use one? And after a while, I don't even remember, then one fine day when we opened, how come I got this? I have to confess that even happens to me. All the time it happens. I've got a whole bookshelf, not bookshelf, a whole cupboard of books, 3/4 of which I haven't read one, Haven't even read. Just see, what a nice book, buy. What a nice book, buy. 3/4 that I haven't even read. Okay? So I told my son-in-law that would be your inheritance. But this is what we mean. This is what the Buddha wanted us to live your moment now. Watch your mind and see And the whole process of meditation is nothing mysterious. People seem to think meditation is something very mysterious. Well, when the situation gets better, I hope I have the opportunity to teach you meditation. There's nothing mysterious in meditation. It's merely training your mind to work in a different way. Now you look at your own mind all the time. You become a witness to your own thoughts. When in the past, your thoughts are you. If you're angry, you're angry. You're hurt, you're hurt. But if you're well trained in meditation, you see anger arising, but you need not be angry. Clear? Okay. Now, the ability to do this provides us with a safety hatch, which allows us to assess the suitability of purpose. So between the arising of a thought and the translation into speech and action, there is a safety valve. There is a gap whereby we can think and see, is this appropriate or inappropriate? If it is appropriate, it's wholesome karma when we do it. If it is inappropriate, we will not do it because it's only going to lead to harm to either myself or to others or to both of us. What the Buddha taught Rahula, like a mirror, always reflect. So every moment of mindfulness is a powerful chisel blow to the chains of greed, hatred, and ignorance, because that moment of mindfulness can stop an action of greed, an action of hatred, and something done out of ignorance. So Sini, you see that picture was taken not to hammer the medical student, but to illustrate this point. Okay? So we mustn't compartmentalize our lives. That means we mustn't, oh, I go to the temple. Oh, I'm very good, you know, in the temple. I sit, I meditate, I'm very quiet, I take my precepts, blah, blah, blah. And then the instant they walk out of the temple, they're another person. And we unfortunately see this all the time. We don't want that. We don't want you to compartmentalize your life. You are the temple. That temple is you. This is the temple. This is the temple. All right? So work, study, play, everything is part of our life. Everything is where our Dhamma is used. Everything is part of our spiritual practice. All right? Some people might look at Dr. Wong and say he's a bit nut, he's a bit obsessive. Every day also talk about Buddhism, everything, talk about Dhamma. And that's because this is what I'm trying to share with you, that you mustn't separate your work, your studies, your play. Oh, that's separate. Or this is my spiritual life. No, spiritual life is our life in real life, 24 hours. All right? Our daily life is the path. Now, the Buddha was actually asked, do the Buddhas of the past, do the Buddhas of the future, do they teach the same thing? And the Buddha replied, and this is in the Dhammapada. All right, the Dhammapada is this little book that you see me bring when we have our little sessions in the uni. All right. Arena, you're supposed to get me 100 copies of this book from Indonesia. This is trilingual. This is from the Dhammapada, verse 183 of the Dhammapada. And the Buddha replied, whether it is the Buddhas of the past, the Buddhas of the future, or the present Buddha, basically the teaching is not to do any evil. And you can only do this if your mind is all the time mindful so that we do not make errors. To cultivate good, whenever there's an opportunity to cultivate good, by all means do it. Okay? And to try and purify our mind. All right? Try and get wisdom. Try and purify this mind so that we have the wisdom to do what is right. So not to do any evil. Well, some of the younger members here might be a bit, unless you are very wise and you know exactly what to do. The 5 basic precepts basically give you guidelines not to do things which are wrong. And you won't be very far out if you just keep to the 5 basic moral guidelines. If we refrain from any evil, then you have no problems keeping the precepts. And I've shared with my Dhamma group in the uni with you all when I taught you all about puja. The traditional mudra of protection is the Buddha putting his hand like that. And I always tease the students and ask, how can a bronze image, how can a wooden image, or how can a painting of a Buddha putting his hand like that protect you? This abhaya, this mudra is called abhaya. Abhaya means have no fear, fearlessness. How can a Buddha image standing like that make you have no fear? Well, it's very simple. The Buddha is telling every one of us, keep your 5 precepts. If you keep your 5 precepts, you have no fears. In the Samyutta Nikaya, there's one whole section called Deva Samyutta. It's a whole collection of discourses that talks about devas, or angels, or gods, whatever the modern equivalent is. And in one of those discourses, you have this very big deva called Sakra, and he was seen to pay respect. And so one of those people who was with him, one of the smaller assistants was with him, asked Sakra. Sakra is Tian Gong in Hokkien. Hokkien, Chinese New Year, the 9th day, pay respect to Sakra, you're paying respect to, pay respect to Tian Gong, you're paying respect to Sakra. Okay? So he saw Sakra pay respect. And so he asked Sakra, who are you paying respect to? You are Sakra, you're a big man, you know, you don't need to pay respect. And Sakra replied, I'm paying respect to all the beings that keep the 5 precepts. He said, even I, as Sakra, will pay my respect to beings who keep their 5 precepts. So if you keep your 5 precepts, even the devas respect you, and you'll be protected because the most dangerous enemy is yourself. You're protected from yourself. Okay? So for the householder, which is all of us here, we're only keeping 5 precepts. That's all. All right? The Buddha always tells us about the middle path. You have the extreme austerities, which the Buddha himself went through, starving himself, not allowing himself to do all kinds of things, torturing his body, which the Buddha said is wrong. And then you got the extreme of sensual pleasures, which is also wrong, the Buddha said. We don't need such extremes of sensual pleasures. So for us as lay people, we only need to keep 5 precepts. But if you are a very serious meditator, then you might keep 8 precepts. And of course, if you are a monk, your middle path would be 227 precepts. And for some monks who keep what we call the Dhutanga rules, they have even more austerities. But for us, basically, as lay people, we only have 5 precepts. We remind ourselves constantly not to harm other people. There's Panatipata, the first one, we do not want to take anything which doesn't belong to us. The third one, Kamesu Michachara, sensual misconduct or sexual misconduct. And the fourth one, Musawada, speech, which is harsh, bad, lying, Surameraya, which is basically the alcohols during the Buddhist time, so that you do not make your mind confused, unmindful, and then you get into big trouble. So to cultivate good, remember just now the 3 basic things I told you. The Buddha said not to do any evil, to cultivate all good, and to train the mind. This is taught by Buddhas of the past and the Buddhas of the present and the Buddha of the future. So to cultivate good is to live our lives guided by the higher ideal of selfless loving kindness towards all living beings. Metta Karuna. And I keep on telling my university students, until I think they are yawning, that metta is not talk, talk, talk. Metta is action. All the talk in the world not going to do much good. It is action. And in this present crisis, all you got to do is identify one small little area that you can help. Do that with metta karuna, and you have done very well. So wisdom is knowing the right thing to do, okay, but virtue is doing it, actually doing it. So when we want to offer things, it is not just money. It can be your time, it can be your skills. It can be material things, of course. It can be money, of course, or it can just be knowledge. All right? Let me show you a video on giving. I'm sure many of you have seen this video.
Sibuk lah.
มีอะไรช่วยไหมครับ
ขอบคุณค่ะ
So when you do any dana, do not worry about the return. Just do it because we want to do good for the sake of doing good, not because we are looking at the return. So you can never forecast the effect of doing dana. It's something so simple. In this case, you're just giving food to a dog. Okay, so it can be any act that is good. Just do it and don't bother about the outcome. Let the outcome take care of itself. So this is called giving unconditionally. All right. So you do not have to bother about what is the outcome. Just do it with metta, with loving kindness, and with compassion, and it will bear its own fruit, for which we cannot forecast. And the last one, to purify the mind, which is training the mind. And I've already mentioned this. The meditation has nothing mysterious about it. Certainly not Buddhist meditation. We are merely training the mind to look at the mind, training the mind to function in a different way. And in this case here, we are training you to be the witness to your own mind so that you have mindfulness and you're able to stop any unwholesome actions before it is translated into action, or to do an wholesome action when you can recognize it as wholesome. So meditation is the simplest and yet the most difficult skill to master. But it is simple because all it requires is to train you to watch your thoughts. That's all. to watch your thoughts, your feelings, and your emotions without reaction or judgment. Just watch it. What's so difficult about that? But because our lives are such that at every moment we must be doing something, you know. So when we are asked not to do something, just sit there, relax, we find it so difficult. It becomes something unnatural. So this teaches not to always react by conditioned reflex, but to actually think and look, like what is taught to Rahula, look at the mirror and see. The mirror reflects your action. Now you are reflecting whether that action should or should not be taken. So now when you realize by yourself the validity of the Buddha's teachings, you transform your mind from just faith to having wisdom. The Buddha doesn't want us to have blind faith. The faith must be converted into wisdom by your own direct realization. Because when you have wisdom, you remove the obstacle of doubt. Let me share with you what's the difference between faith and wisdom. If I were to tell Sam, you've got 2 upper limbs and 2 lower limbs, and Sam believes me, that is faith on what Dr. Wong said. It is just faith. But when Sam looks and say, okay, I got 1 upper limb here, I got 2 second one here, I got 1 leg here, I got 1 leg here. Now I know I've got 2 upper limbs and 2 lower limbs. Now Sam does not need to have faith anymore. Sam knows. And this is what the Buddha wants. For every one of his teachings, be it on anicca, dukkha, anatta, impermanence, stress, and non-self, which you can clearly see by yourself, the 4 Noble Truths, you can clearly see by yourself. Once you have seen it and you have verified it, then it is no more faith. You know it is true. And that is what the Buddha wants. He didn't want us to have faith, but he wants you to know, to see for yourself. And I've told my uni students this story, but I'm going to show it to you. I love this.
스승님, 그런데 당신은 왜 불상을 모시지 않습니까?
불상이 있는 것을 내가 알려주지. 저기 바로 커튼 뒤에 있단다.
Okay, I love this. I really love this teaching because I think it is so profound. The Buddha is not out there. The Buddha is in your mind because you have that potential to be awakened from the conditions of life. You have that potential to know the truths of life yourself. When we pay respect to a Buddha image, when we pay respect by bowing of Anjali to a Buddha image, Edmund, Vidya, when you pay respect to a Buddha image, you are paying respect to all the virtues that is represented in that image. The virtues of loving kindness, compassion, peace, wisdom, calmness as represented by that image. That is what we are paying respect to. We are not paying respect to a piece of bronze or a piece of wood or porcelain or whatever. We are paying respect to all that virtues which is in that image, represented by that image. So when we bow down to an image, you're actually bowing down to your future self. You're bowing down to what you can become. You're bowing down to what you want to be. You're not bowing down to a stone or a marble or whatever, but you're bowing down to what you want to be. And that is why in that little lesson that I just showed you, this girl asked the teacher, where's the Buddha image? And she said, oh, it's there behind the curtain. Open the curtain, she sees a mirror, she sees herself. You are the future Buddha. You are the one who can be awakened. You are the one who can develop all these good qualities and you will. So we all must be farmers, because enlightenment is a result that arises from causes, and every day we are planting seeds. Every day we are plowing, every day we are planting more and more seeds. And we hope that the soil in which we plant it is fertile. The conditions must be right. If the soil that we plant the seeds is fertile, then we get very good fruits. So you must have cause, you must have condition, and then you have the effect. So if you've got the causes, which is what you have planted, and the conditions are right, you have fantastic effect. I used to tell my students in medicine, I say, Yong Chen would have heard this. I say, Yong Chen, if you do everything that I tell you to do, you study everything that I ask you to study, you read everything that I ask you to read. And of course, you must remember it. I said, Yong Chen, if you can do all that, I can make you a very, very good diagnostician at the end of these 3 years. Okay? So we plan the cause, but the conditions must be there. So now poor Yong Chen is stuck because of this crisis. So I do not know whether the conditions are there for the effect to come into fruition. Because you need 3 things for a karmic effect to occur. You must have the cause, you must have the right condition, and then the effect will be there. So if the conditions are not right, the effect may not be seen for a long time. You plant durian, it will take you 9 to 10 years before you get your first fruit. Okay? You can plant that little red chili, in 1 year you get your fruit. So different things takes different duration. So enlightenment is a result that arises from causes. We do not have to worry, just keep on planting the causes. Every day we do good deeds, we do dana, we do bhavana. Every day we avoid doing bad things. Don't worry. This fight will come by itself. So if you persistently keep on planting the causes, the result will inevitably arise. So just be a good farmer. Let the Dhamma be our GPS. Every day you plant good seeds and you water it with the dew of precepts, mind training, wisdom, and you must weed away all the destructive forces of greed, hatred, and ignorance, and the harvest of enlightenment will come by itself. Now, very often you hear this expression, 84000法门, 84,000 Dhamma doors. If you read the suttas, you will see the word 84,000 being used very often. 84000 is a very common term used in the suttas to describe a lot. So when we see this word being used, it basically means a lot. So you have 84000法门, you have 84000 this and 84000 that. And sometimes people are confused and they actually say, wow, so many Dhamma doors, which one do I enter? If you look at the 84000法门, that means there's so many different schools, so many different traditions, so many different lineages, so many different teachers, but they all have a common call. 8 for the Eightfold Path, 八正道. 4 for the Four Noble Truths. And the 30, anicca, dukkha, anatta. The emptiness of all phenomena, past, present, and future. Any teacher who teaches you by whatever Dhamma door, he must have this core of Eightfold Path, Four Noble Truths, and the 3 universal characteristics. Then he is teaching you the correct Dhamma door, because all Dhamma doors open to this Eightfold Path, Four Noble Truths, and emptiness of all phenomena, past, present, and future. 三法印, the 3 universal seals, because all doors lead to this very core of the Buddha Dhamma. If it does not lead to this, something is wrong. You better run. It is a wrong Dhamma door. So let us live the Dhamma. May we all walk this path together. till we reach the peace of Nibbana. And I thank all of you because you are in many ways my teachers. In this critical time, we can still live our lives well. We will still keep our precepts and make sure we don't do anything harmful. We will still do our best to help. Identify, as I said, a little thing. Do that with loving kindness. Do that with compassion. And we will have contributed. We will have done good deeds. We will have avoided any bad things. And we keep on doing that to cultivate our mind. As to the results, as I said, we do not need to worry. And many of you will have seen this clip.
เขาจะได้อะไรถ้าเขาทำแบบนี้ทุกวัน เขาจะไม่ได้อะไรเลย ไม่ได้รวยขึ้น ไม่ได้ออกทีวี ไม่มีใครรู้จัก ไม่ได้มีชื่อเสียงที่มากขึ้น เพราะสิ่งที่เขาได้คือได้แค่ความรู้สึกได้เห็นความสุขได้เข้าใจได้ความรักได้ในสิ่งที่เงินซื้อไม่ได้ได้โลกที่สวยงามกว่าเดิมในชีวิตคุณอะไรคือสิ่งที่คุณต้องการมากที่สุดให้ประกันชีวิตเชื่อในความดี
Okay, so I think that video illustrates the point very well. We do good not because we expect a return. We do good because that is the right thing to do. All right, I will now end this sharing. It's exactly 1 hour. So we will now do the closing puja. At the closing puja, let us think of all the people who are badly affected by the present crisis. Let us think of all the doctors, nurses, medical attendants, all the amas who are in the very, very front line, trying their best to do what can be done for the many, many people who are sick. We expect in the next 1 to 2 weeks that the numbers will be far higher than what we are seeing now. Let us think of all these people who are risking their lives to help others. Let us think of all the sick people. May they be happy, may they be well. They may be sick in the body, but at least we hope they can have peace of mind and happiness from the support of everyone around them. Let us think of all the people whose businesses are badly affected. May they find ways to help them overcome this difficult period. Let us think of all the people all over the world that are now without food, without shelter, maybe even without water, because they may have no home, no food, nothing. The Buddha said that listening to the Dhamma, sharing the Dhamma, understanding the Dhamma is very meritorious. With this, let us share our merits with all these people, and may all beings be happy, may all beings be well, may all beings be free from pain and suffering, may all beings be safe. Let us think of our own family members, our parents, our children, our relatives, our brothers, sisters, our friends, that they may be safe in this difficult period, that they may be happy, healthy, and well. We will now do the closing puja. Let us together share merits with all these people. Dedication of merits. Let us dedicate the merits of participating in the wholesome Dhamma activity to all our departed relatives and friends. Idang me nyatinang hotu sukita ontu natayo. Idang me nyatinang hotu sukita ontu natayo. Idang me nyatinang hotu sukita ontu natayo. I share my merits with my departed relatives and friends. May they be happy and well. Dedication of merits. Let us invite all sentient beings to participate in our quiet merits. Ekta wakta chami sambatan ya sambatan sabe dewa anumodantu sabba sampati siddhya. May all deities share and rejoice in the merits which they acquire. May they acquire all kinds of happiness. Ekta wakta chami sambatan punya sambatan sabe buddha anumodantu sabba sampati siddhya. May all visitables share and rejoice in the merits which we have acquired. May they acquire all kinds of happiness. Ekta wakta cha amehi sambatan punya sambatan sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampati siddhya. May all beings share and rejoice in the merits which we have acquired. May they acquire all kinds of happiness. End of service dedication. Let us together read this. I dedicate the merits which I have accumulated to the cultivation of my mind in order to bring happiness and benefits to all sentient beings. I dedicate the merits to my parents, children, spouse, relatives, friends, colleagues, and my adversaries, wishing them long life, good health, happiness, and prosperity. May we never part from the Triple Gem, and may we always walk the path towards enlightenment. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. All right, thank you. This is the end of the service. How many people are here? Let me see. How do I go back to my big screen? We have 34 people here. Excellent. How do I stop my sharing screen so that I can see you all? Pause share.
After you can, after from the share screen button, you can stop share. Yeah.
I've stopped share, so I can see a lot. All right, good, excellent. So I hope all of you are happy and well, and that you are well fed despite this MCO that every one of us is under. All right, and my regards to all the Dhamma brothers in Jakarta arena. Please extend my regards to all of them. Okay, and of course, Hey Yong, where are you? Wave to me. Yeah, that's right. Yes, we've got someone from Sydney, all the way from Sydney. Okay, and of course, dear Siu Yin is here. And this, I have no video, so I only see a black screen. I see a cat also attending. Wow, that's very good. Jesslyn is here, excellent. All right, good. Thank you all for attending this online service. Joseph, yes, brother.
Yes, yes. I just on my screen.
You just on your screen. You were one of those black screens earlier.
Yes, yes, yes. I always off the screen when I listen. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So we are very glad that this online service on a Sunday is successful. And I don't know how you can take a hi, sister Young. Siu Yin, how do we take a group photo? I have no idea how. All these are very new to me. You know? I know Siu Yin can take.
Let me do but I think the host can do the group photo. Who is the host?
Edmund is the host, so Edmund can take a group photo of all the 30 over of us, including.
He may have to do the one screen by one screen because one screen can only take I think 5 by 4. 5 by 5. So one screen can only take 25.
Okay.
So the host can only take one screen at a time, then the next screen.
Okay, can.
You can take up to 49.
Wait, yeah, I can't see you. Must move your head. Yay!
Okay. I'll take the photo now. Can everyone on?
Yeah, everybody smile.
Yay.
Wait. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay, done.
Wonderful. We have a very international audience, and I think this online service is going to be for a while. And the next time we have it, we will again notify everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you. Sadhu to all of you. Sadhu to Brother Edmund for organizing it. Okay. All right. Medical students will now be scolded by me for their lessons. We have a lesson after this. Yung Yung. Bye. Bye. Everyone. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Piyong, where are you? Bye-bye, Piyong. Where's Piyong? Yes. Bye. Carol is here, so I see Carol's name. All right. Wonderful.
Hey, bye, Dr. Wong.
Bye. Send my regards to your hubby.
Yes, will do. Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Dr. Wong.
Bye, Siu Yin.
Bye, Dr. Wong. Thank you very much.
Bye, Sister Rina. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Are we supposed to do anything?
Sorry?
Prof, what are we going to do now?
We are going to look at some very interesting things.
Okay.
So we're supposed to stay, is it?
Sorry?
Wait, I'll go and get my charger. My computer's dying. Wait.
I'll need to drink some water too. Okay, everyone? Sam, you okay?
Yeah, sorry.
All right, let's start. Let me find my share screen. Where is the share screen? I can't find the share screen.
It's the green button below.
It's the green icon.
Yeah, it's below. Okay.
Wow. All right, can you see it? All right.
Can.
Okay. Now, when Professor Dhanaraj died, people inherit money. I inherited his slides. His whole life was in education. And so he had a lifetime collecting slides of science and ECGs and X-rays. And he was such a meticulous man that these slides were kept in safes. So you see this huge safe, each one about this big. And inside the safe will be hundreds of slides. Your generation will not know about these slides, but they're all made of glass. And you need to put them on a projector to project onto the wall. So that was how we were taught in those days. They had this projector, put it in the projector, and then it will be shined onto the wall. And so when he passed away, I inherited all these slides from his wife, including 2 cases which are meant to carry and teach, because you've got to bring it to the lecture hall and they'll put it in there and show the students. And that's his wife, who is still alive, Professor H.O. Wong. Okay, she's still alive. And she is Mahathir's classmate. So she's 95 years old this year. And I'm still scared of her. If I meet her, she might ask me